Having a plan B only distracts you from plan A. There's a massive psychological difference between the person with a backup plan and the person whose backup plan is to force their main plan to work. That's why you've heard burn the boats stories about great conquerors throughout history. It goes all the way back to the Iliad by Homer, where the ancient Greeks landed at Troy and literally burned their boats so there would be no possibility of a retreat. It was win or die, no matter what. And this is the exact mindset that will help you take every single thing you want in this life. Matt Higgins is the author of Burn the Boats, and I have 6 pages of notes and takeaways and ideas from this book, and his story is incredible. He was a high school dropout caring for his sick mother in Queens, New York, before burning his boats and eventually becoming an investor on Shark Tank, a lecturer at Harvard Business School, and a serial entrepreneur with a billion-dollar portfolio of some of today's most iconic brands. His plan B was to make plan A work. And so if you want to stop your safety net from turning into your prison bars, watch this video to the end. I spent about 8 hours reading this book cover to cover, taking 6 pages of notes, like I said, and compiling a complete summary that you can also get for free down in the video description. But in this video, I just want to go through some of my best takeaways from the book and some of the most compelling ideas that can really help you burn your own boats and get to where you want to go even faster, like a lot faster. We slow ourselves down so much by holding on to the idea of some backup plan, something that we can retreat to, instead of burning the boats, closing off every other option, and just forcing ourselves to make it no matter what. It's definitely the nuclear option, and you don't have to burn down everything about your life. And in fact, I don't think you really should. For example, having an emergency fund of 6 to 12 months of living expenses, I think that's a fantastic idea. But if you can at least psychologically burn your own boats, that's going to give you such a massive advantage in whatever you're trying to accomplish. So I'll get right into the takeaways, share the best ones, and add my comments where appropriate. First quote that I had to write down. He says, "To accomplish something great, you have to give yourself no escape route, no chance to ever turn back. You throw away your backup plans and you push forward, no longer bogged down by the infinite ways in which we hedge our own successes. Every bit of effort or psychological space that you give to plan B, it really does take away from the effort and focus and drive that you can dedicate to making plan A work. And I don't want you to think that you have to burn everything down or quit your job or make things more difficult on yourself than they have to be, but there really is immense psychological force and power that you can give yourself by refusing to entertain even the option of having a plan B, a backup plan, somewhere that you can retreat to." And he goes on to say, you don't win when you give yourself the option to lose. If your boats are literally sinking behind you and you have to win, like you have to take this city or else you will fail, you will literally die in some cases, then you will put forth extraordinary effort to get what you want. And even like great generals like Napoleon and Caesar, what consistently shows up in their maxims and tactics is that they never corner an enemy. Like they never give the enemy no way out because they know that that just makes them fight even harder. Like people have known this for thousands and thousands of years. And so if you give yourself no escape route, yourself no way out, you will fight harder. Except in this case, you're going to fight harder for what it is that you actually want out of life. And then so I love this quote too. He says, "Yet the act of building a safety net is precisely what forces you to need one. If you're someone who's worried you won't succeed, you've already failed." And I like this one too. He says, "I've seen hesitation kill more dreams than speed ever will." There's a saying that gets thrown around a lot, and I think it's eminently true. It goes, money loves speed. And you look at the top performers in every business or industry, like they all move exceptionally fast. There's very little time between them getting an idea and them testing it in the real world, like creating a minimum viable product, some prototype that they can test immediately, like a landing page that they put up right away or have their team put up, and you immediately get contact with the customer. You get feedback on your idea. The ultra successful people in this world, they move with incredible speed. And I've found in my own business, once I've acted with so much more speed and urgency, that's when the money really started to roll in. So I wouldn't let emails sit in my inbox for days and days before responding. I would get back to people right away, move things forward, like speed, speed, speed. An important part of this too is that sometimes, being really fast will lead to mistakes. You're going to get things wrong. You're going to try things that don't work. Moving slowly or waiting is sometimes the biggest mistake of all. And this is a quote from someone else, but I absolutely love this, and it's in the book. This is from Jacob Rees. He says, "When nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it'll split in two, and I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before." And yes, it's entirely possible that if you just keep on doing the same thing over and over again without learning or without trying anything new, just like stubbornly stupidly persisting in something that obviously is not working, yeah, don't do that. So keeping that image of the stonecutters in mind really helps. And then some of these quotes are just perfect. He says, too often we let our self-talk tear us down before the world even gets a shot in. And then the mere act of contemplating a plan B sets in motion a feedback loop that dramatically lessens the probability that plan A will come to fruition. You spend too much of your emotional energy on contingency planning instead of on success. This next one goes back to intelligent risk taking. He says, some people tell me they can't go all in because they have to feed themselves, but they're missing the point. Use your common sense to mitigate risk. Have a second job, have a third job. Going all in is different from having no downside protection. You can have money in the bank. I did when I left the Jets, absolutely. I wasn't going to end up on the street. You don't need to torture relationships, sabotage your reputation, and make it impossible to ever get a job again. You don't need to put a second mortgage on your house, risk your child's college fund, and live in your car. But you do have to commit. When you create backup plans and then more plans to back up your backups, your hedge becomes your crutch. Very important to understand. Burn the Boats is obviously a fantastic book, but if you want to remember more of what you read, check out the sponsor of today's video, which is called Book Genius. It's a book app that I use every single day to help me remember more of what I read, find and explore new books that I think I might like to read in the future. They've got podcast summaries of thousands of books that you can look up and learn from. And I even host a book club on the app. It's got the same name as my newsletter, and it's called The Reading Life. So join my book club on the Book Genius app and use my link in the video description for 56% off your annual subscription. So many of these quotes and ideas are amazing, and you can tell why I have 6 pages of notes from this little book. He says, I spend no time at all lamenting my situation, and you shouldn't either. No matter what that situation is, you are never destined to be a victim. You will always have the last word until your last breath. It reminds me of this great quote. It goes, until death, all defeat is psychological. 2 more here and I'll wrap things up. Next, he says, if you take anything away from the lessons here, I hope it's my abiding belief in your infinite capacity to just figure it out. Trust me, when your back is against the wall and there's seemingly no way out, you will find a way. Instead of burning those boats, you might just have to sink them instead. It's so true that there's always something you can do, but I guess one of the main messages in this book is that there's always something to try, some new approach to take, some new question that you can ask, somebody that you can reach out to. For example, I've got my private business mastermind on School. I'm in there every day answering questions like these, helping people burn their own boats, scale their reach, revenue, and reputation, getting to where they want to go. So you always have options until your very last day on this planet. This last quote actually comes from the acknowledgement section, and I'm someone who will always read that acknowledgement section because there's usually something great in there. So Matt says, my mother, Linda, died with $100 in her bank account, but I inherited the most valuable gift a parent can give a child, limitless faith in my ability to figure anything out. So that's it for my best notes and takeaways. My complete summary, all my notes from this book are down in the video description. I highly recommend reading the whole thing for yourself. Yes, book summaries are great. Reading other people's notes, they can really help. And of course, the sponsor of this video, Book Genius, for quizzing yourself on what you've learned and finding new books to read, but there really is no substitute for reading the actual book for yourself. But hey, thanks for watching this video. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. And for 10 great books that'll help you solve 10 major problems, watch this video right here.
I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating. Yeah.